Good morning, dear friend. As the first light of dawn stretches gently across the horizon, painting the sky with hues of gold and quiet blue, I welcome you to this sacred moment, the beginning of a new day. There is something holy about this hour, is not there? The world is still wrapped in silence. The rush has not yet begun, and your soul, though weary or restless, stands at the threshold of something new. This is not just morning, it is an invitation to pause, to breathe, and to enter into a divine conversation that can anchor your heart for whatever lies ahead. Perhaps you woke up today with a heaviness you can't quite name. Maybe you have been walking through a season that feels like a storm that never ends. You might be facing something no one else knows about, grief you have buried, fear that keeps you up at night, a decision that has torn you in two. Or maybe you simply feel lost, like the map of your life no longer points to any place that feels like home. If that is you, I want you to know you are not alone. This morning is not just another page on the calendar. It is a divine appointment. Let me tell you a story. There was a woman who once sat in her car before the sun rose, gripping the steering wheel with tears streaming down her face. She had just dropped off her child at school, but the weight of her reality hit her like a wave she could not escape. A recent diagnosis, a strained marriage, bills piling higher than hope. She sat there, trembling, whispering a silent prayer if anyone could hear it. She did not have eloquent words, just pain, just questions. But even in that moment of weakness, something holy happened. Her breath slowed, her mind stilled, and in the quiet, she felt it, not a booming voice, not an immediate solution, but the undeniable presence of peace. Not because her circumstances changed, but because something in her had. You see, prayer is not about having the right words. It is about showing up. It is about opening your heart before a God who already knows, already sees, and still waits to be invited in. That woman's story might be yours, or someone you love, and that is why we begin this journey, this sacred rhythm of morning prayer, not as a ritual, but as a relationship. Each morning, when we rise, we are not just waking our bodies, we are waking our souls. And in these moments, before the noise of the day invades our peace, we have a choice to reach for our fears, or to reach for faith, to lean into worry, or to lean into trust. What if today you chose trust? This prayer journey is for the weary and the hopeful, for the strong and the struggling. It is for those who have walked with God for years, and those who are still wondering if He is real. It is for the honest, the hurting, the healing, and it begins not with answers, but with honesty. So come, dear friend, bring your full self, your questions, your pain, your joy, your doubt. There is room for all of it here. You do not have to pretend. You do not have to perform. You are already seen. You are already loved. And this morning, as the sun begins to rise, your heart can rise with it. Let us walk gently now into the presence of the One who holds all things together. Let us speak not to the sky, but to the God who shaped it. Let us begin. Dear Heavenly Father, this morning feels heavier than most. I opened my eyes, but the weight on my chest greeted me before the light ever reached my window. I sat on the edge of my bed and took a breath, but even breathing felt like effort. The silence around me only made the noise inside louder. Worries about the day ahead, regrets from yesterday, questions that still have no answers. My body is awake, but my spirit is slow to follow. This day has only just begun, and already I feel behind. I feel small. I feel tired in places I cannot even name. But I come to you, not because I feel strong or ready, not because I have the right words. I come because you are the only one who sees the full weight. I carry the weight. I do not show anyone else. I come because I do not want to walk through another day pretending I have it all together. I come because somewhere deep inside, beneath all the heaviness, there is still a hope that you are near, that you still listen, that you still care. You know the things pressing down on me today, the responsibilities I have to carry, the conversations I am dreading, the emotions I have not processed, the fears that keep knocking on the door of my thoughts. I do not have to explain them to you. You already know. And still, you wait for me to bring them to you. So here I am, not with polished prayers, not with brave words, just me. Just this heart that needs something more than coffee or motivation. I need your presence. I do not know why this morning feels so heavy. Maybe it is the accumulation of too many sleepless nights. Maybe it is the loneliness that crept in slowly and stayed. Maybe it is the weight of expectations, my own and those of others. Or maybe it is the feeling that I am always falling short. Whatever it is, I place it all before you. I do not ask for you to fix everything today. I just ask for you to meet me in this moment. Right here. Right now. I think of those around the world who are also waking up this morning with unspoken heaviness. The mother who does not know how to provide. The student who feels like they are failing. The worker facing another day of pressure. The elderly man who opens his eyes to silence. The young woman who cries before getting out of bed. I lift them to you too, because pain is not always loud, but it is always real. I pray that your peace would find them, just as I ask it to find me. Father, help me start this day not by running into the rush, but by resting in your nearness. Before I pick up my phone, before I scroll, before I dive into to-do lists and calendars, let me pause here in this sacred quiet. Let me remember that I am more than what I accomplish. I am more than how I perform. I am more than how I look or how well I meet expectations. I am yours, fully, completely, even in this weak and weary state, especially in this state. You promise that your mercies are new every morning, not recycled, not leftover, new. Today, for me, I hold on to that. I hold on to you. I may not feel light, but I choose to believe that you are light. I may not feel ready, but I choose to believe that you go before me. I may not feel strong, but I choose to believe that you are my strength. Let your gentleness carry me through each moment today. Help me speak kindly to myself. Help me give myself grace. Help me notice the beauty I would otherwise miss. The way the light moves across the floor, the way someone smiles, the sound of wind in the trees. Let me not rush past reminders that you are still near, even when I feel far. Remind me that heaviness is not failure. It is not weakness. It is simply a signal that I need you. I do not ask for a perfect day. I ask for a held one, held by you. I ask for the courage to begin again, even if my beginning feels shaky. I ask for the awareness to notice when I am sinking, and the humility to reach out for you. Let this morning be different, not because of what happens, but because I started it with you. I invite you into every part of this day, into my thoughts before I speak, into my emotions before they explode, into my plans before they unfold. Walk with me. Steady me. You do not expect me to pretend. You do not ask me to perform. You simply invite me to be with you. And somehow, that is what begins to lift the heaviness. The reminder that I am not carrying this day alone, that I was never meant to, that you are the God who sees, the God who stays, the God who whispers peace into the chaos and calm into the fear. So I come again, I start again, I breathe again. Thank you for this morning. Thank you that no matter how heavy it feels, I am not without hope. Thank you that in this quiet space, something sacred is beginning. You are here. You are enough. This is the place I want to begin, not in fear, not in shame, but in trust, in presence, in peace. And when I rise from this prayer, remind my heart that the heaviness of the morning does not define the weight of the whole day. Remind me that how I start is not how I have to finish. That grace is not reserved for the strong. It is given freely to the weak. Given now. Given here. Given to me. Let this be my first breath today. A breath in your presence. A breath filled with peace. A breath that whispers, even when I do not feel it fully, that I am held, I am loved, I am not alone. Father, even now, as I sit in this quiet space with you, something within me still trembles. I open my heart to you in the stillness of morning, and yet there is more, deeper, beneath the surface of what I can say out loud. There is a cry I have not fully spoken, a cry that I have carried in silence for too long, a cry that lingers behind my smile, behind the way I keep going, behind the words I tell others when I say I am fine, but I am not fine. And you already know that. You know how often I hold my breath, how often I bury what aches, hoping it will fade if I do not name it. But silence does not erase pain. It just delays healing. And I no longer want to delay what you long to restore. There are things I have not said, not even to myself. Fears I push down so they one day rise and overwhelm me. Disappointments I pretend do not sting as deeply as they do. Dreams that feel too fragile to voice again. Wounds that feel too old to be worth touching. But you are not afraid of the truth. You are not offended by my unspoken prayers. You see the weight I carry in my silence, and you listen to the language of tears. So today, I stop holding it all in. I stop pretending silence is strength. I let it come. The whisper behind the sigh. the words I was never taught how to say, the H that does not fit neatly into sentences, the cry beneath my silence. God, I feel the pressure to always appear strong, to always keep moving, to be the one others depend on, to stay composed. But what if I am not composed? What if I feel like breaking instead of building? What if my strength today is simply being honest? Honest that I am scared. Honest that I am grieving something I cannot even explain. Honest that the silence has become loud. I need you to meet me here, not in the polished places, but in the raw and unfinished corners of my soul. I know you hear the words I have not yet formed. You understand the sob beneath the smile. You see the nights I wake up and stare at the ceiling, waiting for the fear to pass. You know the questions I never ask out loud, because I am afraid of what the answers might be. What if nothing changes? What if I am too much? What if I am not enough? And still you draw near. You come closer, not when I perform, but when I am undone. And that is where I begin again with you, in the space where silence breaks and truth finally breathes. You have always been the one who listens, not just to my words, but to the weight behind them. The sighs, the pauses, the moments I go quiet because I no longer know how to pray. Even those moments are heard by you. You never rush me. You never shame me. You just stay patient, present, steady. I can feel that steadiness now. Even as my words come slowly, even as I struggle to describe what hurts, you are here, not waiting for me to be eloquent, just honest. I lift up to you the grief that I have buried too deep, the loss I did not allow myself to mourn, the anger I pushed aside because I thought it was not holy, the confusion I covered with busy schedules, the weariness I have ignored because there was too much to do. I bring all of it to you now, not cleaned up, not filtered, just real, just mine. And in this place, I ask you to hold what I cannot, to make sense of what feels senseless, to carry what is too heavy for my words. Lord, teach me how to speak again, not just with my mouth, but with my soul. Teach me how to pray beyond performance, how to let my tears speak when my voice cannot, how to trust that silence is not the absence of faith, but often the space where faith is born. Show me that I do not need to have the perfect prayer. I just need to be present with you, that my cry is not too messy, not too much, not too late. You are not distant. You are not deaf. You are not indifferent. You are the God who hears. Even now, I do not need every answer today. I do not need a quick solution. I just need to know I am heard, that my voice matters to you, that my pain does not go unnoticed, that my silence is not wasted. Even if the world cannot see what I carry, you do. And in your presence, I begin to unravel in the best way, not fall apart, but open up, not crumble, but soften. You are making space for my real self, the one who does not always know what to say, the one who needs to be heard before being fixed. So I choose to speak today not with perfect clarity, but with honesty. I tell you that I am afraid, that I feel forgotten sometimes, that I want to hope again, but I am scared of disappointment, that I need healing, not just in my circumstances, but in my heart, that I want to feel your nearness, not just know it in theory. These are not dramatic words, just deeply human ones. And I know you meet me in that humanity, not ashamed of my mess, but drawn to it. Thank you for being the one who hears it all, the shouted prayers, the whispered hopes, the silent cries. I let them rise to you now, not because I am strong, but because I no longer want to carry them alone. Let my cry be the beginning of healing. Let this prayer be the place where silence turns into connection, where isolation gives way to intimacy, where hidden pain becomes known, and known pain begins to heal. Stay near, God, even when I go quiet again, even when I do not have words tomorrow, even when the ache remains. Stay near, not because I am worthy, but because you are willing, you are kind, you are faithful, and I believe that in the very act of being with you, something in me is changing. Not loudly, not quickly, but deeply, quietly, faithfully. The cry beneath the silence has found a place to land, and it has landed in you, Lord. Even now, as my soul continues to speak from a place that was once quiet, I begin to feel something else awakening within me, not just the H, not just the cry, but the hope that I have been seen all along. After releasing the silence I carried for so long, I find myself wondering, has anyone really noticed me beneath all of this? And before the thought can finish forming, I remember you. I remember the way you have always seen me, not from a distance, but up close. I remember the truth that even when no one else looks long enough to understand, you already do. You always have. There have been moments when I have felt invisible, like I could disappear from the world and no one would miss me. Moments where I walked into rooms and smiled through the H, waiting for someone to look beyond the surface. Moments when I gave and gave, hoping that someone might notice I was emptying myself just to survive the day. And too often, the world moved on, people passed by, but not you. You are not like them. You do not walk away from my mess. You do not overlook my weariness. You do not dismiss my need. You see me not just the version I try to be, but the one I actually am. God, thank you for being the one who does not just hear what I say, but sees what I carry. You see the thoughts I never finish, the dreams I have almost given up on, the places in my heart that feel abandoned. You see the effort behind the smallest act. You see the courage it takes just to rise. You see the fatigue I try to hide behind being responsible. You see the child in me that still longs to be chosen, to be wanted, to be known. And somehow, you do not turn away, you lean in. I do not always understand how you do it, how you hold so many and still see me clearly. But I am learning not to question your capacity. I am learning to rest in the truth that you are personal, that you are close, that you have never lost sight of me, not even once. And in the remembering, I feel something like peace begin to settle into the corners of my spirit. Not because everything is suddenly perfect, but because I do not feel unseen anymore. And maybe, for today, that is enough. I bring before you all the moments in my life when I felt overlooked, the times when others spoke over me, passed me by, or ignored my needs, the days when I wondered if I mattered at all. I bring those memories to you not to stay stuck in them, but to let you heal them. I release the lie that I am invisible. I reject the whisper that says I have to earn someone's attention to be worthy of it. In you, I am already fully known, and in being known, I am fully loved. Let that truth sink deeper than my doubts. Let it become louder than the insecurities that creep in when I compare myself to others. Let it anchor me when I feel unseen in my work, unappreciated in my relationships, or unnoticed in my struggles. You are the God who saw Hagar in the desert, the God who noticed the woman reaching for the edge of your robe, the God who heard the blind man calling out through the noise. You never miss what matters. You never miss the ones the world forgets. So I stand here in the presence of the one who sees me not through the lens of shame or lack, but through eyes of mercy and truth. And in that gaze, I find safety. I find dignity again. I find purpose that is not dependent on applause or approval. You see me, and that is enough. I do not have to fight for space. I do not have to beg to be heard. I am already within your sight, held in your care, known beyond what I can express. When the world rushes past, when people forget to ask how I am doing, when I feel like I am fading into the background, remind me of this moment. Remind me that I am not hidden from you. Not my tears, not my hopes, not my pain, not my joy. You see every layer. You see the beginning, the middle, the end, and you stay. You do not grow weary of watching over me. You do not grow tired of my weakness. You are steady in a way no one else has been. You are constant. Let this awareness change how I move through today. Let it change how I speak to myself. Let it shape how I see others too. Because if you see me, then you see them. The stranger on the train, the person checking out groceries, the tired mother, the anxious student, the lonely man standing by the window. If you see them, help me see them too. Give me eyes like yours, eyes that look deeper, that notice, that honor the humanity in every face. Let the way you see me transform the way I walk through the world. I do not want to live unseen, and I do not want to contribute to others feeling that way. Teach me how to carry your kindness, how to extend the gaze that heals, but start with me. Let the knowledge that I am seen begin to fill the parts of me that still wonder if I matter. Let it touch the spaces where I have tried to disappear. Let it restore what was lost in silence, in fear, in rejection. I rest here, not with answers, but with presence. I let your gaze meet mine. I let it search me, not to condemn, but to comfort. I let it remind me of what I had forgotten, that I am not a background character in my own life. I am not invisible. I am not too far gone. I am not overlooked. I am yours, and you see me. Still, always. Father, if you truly see me, every thought, every fear, every burden, then you already know what I have been holding on to. You already know how long I have been carrying things that are far too heavy for me. I have grown so used to the weight. It almost feels normal, the expectations I place on myself, the roles I try to fill, the plans I try to control, the people I feel responsible for, the wounds I pretend have healed. I have learned how to keep going under pressure, but I am learning now that just because I can carry it does not mean I should. Today, I come to lay some of it down. Not because I have figured everything out, not because I suddenly feel brave, but because I know this is not how you intended me to live. Bent under the pressure of holding everything together, quietly anxious beneath a calm surface, exhausted from trying to manage every detail, every outcome, every person's emotions. I bring this weight to you not with shame, but with a longing to finally rest, to finally let go. God, you see how often I hold my breath when no one is looking. You see how tightly I cling to things I can control, hoping that if I try hard enough, everything will be okay. But control is an illusion, and I am tired of chasing it. I am tired of feeling responsible for what only you can carry. I am tired of pretending I am fine when I am not. And I am tired of waking up each morning already drained by burdens I was never meant to shoulder alone. So here, in the stillness of this prayer, I start loosening my grip. I name what I have been carrying: my fears about the future, my guilt from the past, my unspoken worries about the people I love. I name the deadlines, the decisions, the disappointment. I name the pressure to be strong, the fear of letting someone down, the inner voice that tells me I must always have the answers. I lay each one down before you, gently, honestly, one by one. It feels strange to do this. A part of me resists, still convinced that letting go is weakness. But another part, quieter, truer, knows that surrender is not giving up. It is coming home. Home to the place where I stop striving and start trusting. Home to the one who never asked me to carry this alone. Home to the hands that are big enough to hold what overwhelms me and gentle enough to hold me in the process. Lord, help me believe that I do not have to be the fixer, that I do not have to hold everything in place, that the world will not fall apart if I admit I am tired, that I am allowed to be human, to need help, to ask for peace. Teach me how to rest in your strength instead of performing in mine. Teach me how to walk with open hands instead of clenched fists. Teach me how to find safety in surrender. You are not impressed by my stress. You are not glorified by my burnout. You do not call me to hustle my way into hollowness. You call me to trust, to abide, to breathe. So I take a deep breath now, right here, and let the weight begin to fall off my shoulders. Maybe not all at once, but enough to remind me that this is what grace feels like. This is what release sounds like. This is what it means to be carried. Thank you for being the God who lifts what is too much. Thank you for being gentle with my pace, patient with my process, kind with my heart. Thank you for reminding me that I am not loved for how much I do. I am loved because I belong to you, and that is enough. Help me carry only what is mine today, not yesterday's regret, not tomorrow's pressure, just this moment, this breath, this step, Show me the difference between what you have asked me to carry and what I have picked up on my own. When I reach for burdens that are not mine, remind me gently to release them. When I try to solve problems I cannot fix, remind me kindly that I am not the Savior. You are. Let this be the day I stop measuring my worth by how much I can carry and start resting in how much you already have. Let this be the day I trade exhaustion for trust. Let this be the day I stop apologizing for needing help. You never scold me for being overwhelmed. You meet me in it, and you lift me with mercy I did not earn and peace I cannot explain. As I continue this day, let my spirit stay soft. Let me be aware of when the weight creeps back in. Let me return to this moment when I laid it down and remember how it felt to be light again. Not empty, just free. I am not abandoning my responsibilities. I am just releasing the illusion that I must carry them all alone. Let this surrender be worship. Let it be the quiet offering of a soul finally learning how to breathe in grace. Let it be enough for now to sit with you. Hands open, heart wide, no longer clinging to what was never mine to hold. I trust that you are strong enough for this, for me, for all of it. And if I forget in the rush of the day, remind me again. Whisper to my heart when I begin to tighten my grip. Lead me back to this stillness, to this release, to this holy moment of letting go. You are not waiting for perfection. You are inviting me into peace. So here I am again, laying it down, trusting that what I cannot carry, you already are. Father, now that I have begun to release what I cannot carry, I realize how tightly I have been holding on not just to burdens, but to the belief that I have to be the one to initiate everything, that it all depends on me, that I must earn rest, earn peace, earn love, earn even the right to ask. But something inside me is softening as I sit with you. Something is breaking through the belief that grace comes later, after I have tried harder or done better. You are showing me that grace comes first, always, and is not waiting for me to arrive at perfection. It is already here, already pouring, already present. There is something humbling about that. Something beautiful. That while I was still hiding, still trying to figure it out, still carrying things in silence, grace had already come looking for me. It did not wait for my permission. It did not ask if I was worthy. It just came. Quietly. Faithfully. It met me where I least expected and whispered what I did not know I needed. That I was already loved. Already pursued. Already seen. That the first move was never mine to make. God, it is hard to receive sometimes. I have trained my heart to expect that love must be earned, that peace must be deserved, that blessings are rewards for getting it right. But you are undoing all of that with this quiet, unrelenting grace. You keep showing up, not because I have performed well, but because you are just that kind. You are not keeping a scorecard. You are not withholding yourself until I achieve something. You are the giver who delights in giving, simply because you are good, So today, I pause to let that truth soak in. I let myself sit still in the reality that grace is not my idea. It is yours. I did not chase it down. It found me. It found me in the middle of my fear. It found me in the silence I never planned to break. It found me as I was laying down burdens I thought I had to carry alone. And now, it finds me here again in this moment of quiet awakening, where I am learning how to live without proving anything. I think of all the ways you have chased me with goodness when I was not even looking, the open doors I did not knock on, the people who showed up when I did not ask, the moments of beauty that interrupted my despair, the peace that arrived before my understanding. And I wonder how many times you have whispered grace over my life when I was too distracted to hear it. But now, I want to listen. Now, I want to notice. Let me see your grace today, not just in the big miracles, but in the quiet mercies, in the breath I did not think to thank you for, in the strength I did not recognize as divine, in the hope that returns before circumstances change, in the way my heart softens even when nothing outside me does. Let grace not be an idea, but an experience. Let it touch places where striving once lived. Let it fill the space where shame once echoed. Let it become the lens through which I see this day. I do not want to live waiting for permission to rest. I want to live as someone who knows they are already held, already loved, already chosen. That does not make me lazy. It makes me free, free to show up as I am, free to walk without fear of falling, free to offer kindness without expecting return, free to speak gently to others and to myself, because when grace finds me first, it changes how I treat everything that follows. Father, remind me when I forget, when I slip back into performance, into pressure, into proving that I do not have to earn what you have already given, that your favor is not the reward of the flawless, but the gift to the honest, that grace is not a backup plan. It is the original design. I was never meant to walk through this life alone, carrying the full weight of every moment. I was meant to walk with you, covered by the fullness of what I could never deserve, but freely receive. Let grace be the rhythm of my day. Let it be the way I begin and the way I return. Let it shape my tone, my thoughts, my choices. Let it interrupt my harshness with softness. Let it calm my inner critic with truth. Let it stop the spiral of worry with the assurance that I am not the one holding everything together. You are, and you are not just able. You are willing. Always willing. Always near. I think of others who may be waking up with the same unspoken weight I have known. Those who feel like they have already failed before the day even starts. Those who are ashamed of what they carry, or exhausted from trying to be enough. I lift them to you. I ask that they would feel grace meet them too unexpected, undeserved, but undeniable. Let them know they are not alone. Let them sense, even if just for a moment, that you are closer than they have believed. Sometimes grace looks like being able to get out of bed. Sometimes it looks like laughing when I did not think I could. Sometimes it looks like choosing hope when doubt would be easier. Let me not miss it, because I am looking for something loud or dramatic. Let me see it in the ordinary, in the sunrise, in the stillness, in the fact that I am breathing and praying and opening my heart again. That is not small, that is sacred. And if I begin to doubt, if I start to retreat into old patterns of trying harder and holding tighter, remind me gently, grace found me first. I did not earn this moment. I received it. I did not build this peace. You brought it. I did not heal myself. You are healing me over and over. Quietly. Completely. Grace upon grace. New every morning. Let today be shaped not by my effort, but by my awareness. My awareness that I am not working to be loved, I already am. That I am not searching for worth, I have already been declared worthy. That I am not chasing you down, you have already come. And you have stayed. Even now. Even here. Even with me. Father, if grace found me before I even called out, then surely you also see the parts of me still wrapped in fear. The places in my mind where insecurity lingers like a shadow. The corners of my heart where I still believe that my worth can be undone. I try to walk freely, but fear creeps in quietly through comparison. Through memory. Through imagined futures that have not even happened yet. And before I know it, I start shrinking. Second guessing. Forgetting the truth of who I am. It is strange how quickly fear tries to rewrite my identity. One anxious thought, and suddenly I am convinced I am failing. One disappointment, and I question my value. One silence from someone I love, and I wonder if I did something wrong. Fear is subtle. It does not shout. It whispers. It says, I am not enough. It says, I will be left behind. It says that if I do not get it right, I will lose everything. It disguises itself as logic sometimes, pretending to protect me, but all it really does is limit me. But you, Lord, are not the author of fear. You are the one who speaks peace into the storm, who calls trembling hearts to stand tall, who whispers courage into the quiet. You do not shame me for being afraid. You simply remind me that fear does not have to lead me. It does not have to decide my story. It does not define who I am. You do. So today, I choose to confront the lies I have been believing, not with bravado, but with truth. The truth that I am not what I fear. I am not the sum of my failures or the shadow of my doubts. I am not the worst thing someone said to me or the harshest thing I have said to myself. I am not what did not happen. I am not what went wrong. I am not what I am afraid I will become. I am yours. And that changes everything. You say I am chosen. Not overlooked. You say I am loved. Not abandoned. You say I am whole. Not broken beyond repair. You say I am called, even when I feel unqualified. You say I am covered, even when I feel exposed. You say I am known, even in my confusion. You say I am enough not because of what I have done, but because of who you are. Help me walk through this day with those truths louder than my fears. Help me notice when fear tries to slip and when I hesitate to speak up. when I question my worth, when I assume the worst. Catch me in those moments and gently bring me back to the foundation that cannot be shaken, back to the voice that speaks life, back to the hands that hold me, even when I tremble. I have spent too many days letting fear make decisions for me, letting it shape my posture, my voice, my confidence. But I do not want to live that way anymore. I do not want to hide behind a version of myself that feels safer but smaller. I want to live in the fullness of who you say I am, even if it scares me sometimes, even if it feels unfamiliar. I want to walk forward, not because I am fearless, but because I am anchored. God, you have not given me a spirit of fear. You have given me power, love, and a sound mind. So let that be what rises up in me today. Let love be my response instead of anxiety. Let clarity guide me where confusion used to lead. Let strength steady my steps where hesitation once held me back. Fear may visit, but it does not get to stay. It does not get to speak the loudest. Not anymore. I surrender the need to control every outcome. I surrender the fear of not being enough. I surrender the stories I have told myself about why I should not, why I am not worthy. And I open my hands to receive your truth instead. Even if I do not feel it yet, even if it takes time to believe it. I want to build a new rhythm, one where fear is no longer the default. Remind me that bravery does not always look like bold declarations. Sometimes it is simply showing up again. Sometimes it is saying yes when everything in me wants to run. Sometimes it is resting instead of performing. Sometimes it is speaking gently when I feel small. Give me courage that does not shout but holds steady. Courage that trusts you more than it trusts the fear. And Lord, if someone crosses my path today who is also living under fear's weight, let me see them. Let me carry your peace into their moment of doubt. Let me remind them that they are not what they fear either, that you are greater, that they are seen, that there is a new way to live. Thank you for being patient with me as I unlearn old fears. Thank you for being a safe place when I feel fragile. Thank you for not rushing me through this process, but gently walking with me, one step at a time. I may not feel fearless, but I feel held. I may not always be brave, but I am never alone. Today, I will not be defined by what I fear. I will be defined by what you have already declared. I will remember that you are with me, not just in victory, but in vulnerability. I will walk into this day knowing that fear may come, but it does not get the final word. Your love does, and that love tells me, again and again, I am free, I am chosen, I am enough, I am yours. Father, if I am not what I fear, then I must also believe that I am not defined by what I lack. I have spent so long running from the parts of me that feel weak, as if admitting those pieces makes me less worthy. I have hidden the cracks, tried to mask the tiredness, pretended to be fine even when I was breaking inside. But maybe, just maybe, you are showing me a different way, a way that does not avoid weakness, but welcomes it. A way that says there is strength not despite it, but within it. There is something deeply human in the desire to be strong, to have it all together, to be capable and confident and sure. But the truth is, I often feel unsure. I often feel like I am barely holding on. And even when I manage to look steady on the outside, I know the storms that swirl inside me. The doubts, the fatigue, the moments when I whisper prayers with trembling hope. Not certainty. And yet, even there, you meet me. You do not ask me to clean myself up before I come. You do not demand that I pretend to be whole. You invite me in my frailty, in my confusion, in my contradiction. You see the gap between what I show and what I feel, and you do not shame me for it. Instead, you kneel beside me and remind me that you have always worked through weakness, that you never needed perfection to begin something holy. Lord, I do not always feel strong, but I am learning that your strength is not limited by how much I have to offer. In fact, your word says that your power is made perfect in weakness, not when I am at my best, but when I am at my most vulnerable. That is hard for me to grasp. I want to contribute something. I want to feel worthy. But you are showing me that surrender is more powerful than striving. That when I stop clenching my fists and start opening my hands, that is when your power flows. So here I am. Hands open. Heart exposed. Not because I have run out of options, but because I finally believe you will meet me here. Not with disappointment, but with delight. Not with judgment, but with grace. Let this moment be the place where I stop running from weakness and begin to see it as an invitation, not to be rescued from who I am, but to be transformed by who you are. Help me see the beauty in my limits. Help me stop apologizing for needing help. Help me release the pressure to prove myself. I am not less because I need you. I am free because I have you. Teach me that being dependent on you is not weakness, it is the truest kind of strength. Because when I am aware of my need, I am also aware of your presence. When I am honest about my lack, I become open to your abundance. God, let my weakness become the very place where your glory shows up. Let the cracks in my life become windows where your light shines through. Let the moments I feel least capable become the testimony that you are always enough. I do not want a life that looks perfect but feels hollow. I want a life that is rooted in truth, even when it is messy. I want a life that reflects you, not my ability to manage every detail. And when I start to believe that I must be more than I am, remind me that you already are more than enough. You do not love me because I am strong. You love me because I am yours. You do not stay close because I am impressive. You stay close because you are faithful. That truth steadies me more than any false sense of control ever could. Let today be lived from a different posture, not from the need to prove, but from the peace of being held. Let me show up fully, not with all the answers, but with a heart willing to be used, even in its weakness. Let me speak with honesty. Let me move with kindness. Let me walk in humility. Let me offer what I have, trusting that you will make it enough. I think of the people around me who also carry hidden weakness, the ones who seem strong but are silently breaking, the ones who are barely making it but feel they must pretend. I lift them to you. Let them know they are not alone. Let them feel seen without shame. Let them rest in the truth that they are loved in their most fragile places. And if I can be part of that reminder for someone today, use me gently. Thank you for turning what the world sees as weakness into sacred ground. Thank you for being the one who never tires of holding me up. Thank you for showing me that I do not have to be unshakable to be used by you. I just have to be willing to show up, willing to let go, willing to be seen, willing to trust that my brokenness is not a barrier, but a bridge. I bring you every area where I feel not enough, every place where fear still whispers that I will fail, every wound that makes me doubt my worth. And I ask you to breathe life into them, to turn ashes into beauty, to turn weakness into testimony, to turn ordinary into holy. And when I feel that old urge to hide again, to cover the fragile places with performance or silence, remind me that strength does not mean never falling. Strength means getting back up, even slowly. It means choosing hope when it would be easier to shut down. It means believing that you are at work, even when I can't see it yet. It means being honest about where I am and trusting you to meet me there. So I let go of the image I think I need to protect. I let go of the pressure to always have the answer. I let go of the lie that says weakness disqualifies me, and I rest in you, in your truth, in your faithfulness, in the quiet, resilient strength that comes not from within me, but from being held by you. Lord, if your strength is made perfect in my weakness, then surely you understand how even breathing can feel like effort sometimes. After days or weeks of running on empty, of holding my breath through conversations, through conflict, through long moments of silence, I come to you asking for something simple but sacred. Teach me to breathe again, not just with my lungs, but with my heart, not just physically, but spiritually. Let every inhale draw me closer to you, and every exhale release the weight I was never meant to carry. I did not realize how tightly I have been holding my breath until now, until I sat with you and let my shoulders drop, just a little, until I noticed how often I brace myself, preparing for disappointment, for disapproval, for things to go wrong. It is as if part of me expects the worst, and so I breathe shallowly, live cautiously, speak carefully. But you are not asking me to live guarded. You are inviting me to trust again, to soften, to let the rhythm of grace guide my every breath. God, I want to breathe deeply again. I want to live from a place of rest, not just reaction. I want to let peace fill the spaces where panic once lived. But I do not always know how. The patterns of worry run deep. The tension in my body lingers, even when the moment has passed. So I need you to retrain my soul, to slow me down, to show me what it means to breathe without fear, to teach me what it looks like to rest without guilt. Sometimes the world moves too fast, and I get caught in its current. Deadlines, expectations, constant noise. It is easy to forget that stillness is allowed, that silence is holy, that rest is sacred. Remind me today that I do not have to keep up with everything. I only have to stay close to you, And closeness is not about striving. It is about breathing, about noticing, about being fully present in this moment, not rushing ahead or replaying what is behind. Help me notice the signs that I have forgotten to breathe, when my words get sharp, when my thoughts race, when my chest feels tight for no clear reason. Help me catch myself in those moments and return to the breath you gave me. A breath of surrender, a breath of trust, a breath of stillness. Not empty, but filled with you. You created breath. You are the one who breathed life into dust, who exhaled existence into being. You know the power of stillness. You know the weight that can lift with one holy pause. Teach me that kind of pause today. The kind that does not just quiet my environment, but stills the storm inside me. The kind that reminds me I am not alone. I am not failing. I am not forgotten. I am held. Let me breathe without apology, without rushing to the next thing, without minimizing my need for rest. Let my breath become a prayer, an unspoken but steady reminder that you are with me, that you are in every moment, that I do not have to rush to be worthy, that my value is not found in how much I do, but in how closely I walk with you. When the panic rises without warning, when the tension floods in like a wave, let my first response be not control, but connection. Let me reach for you instead of retreating into anxiety. Let me name what I am feeling without shame. Let me breathe through it with honesty and hope, because I am learning that you are not just present when I am peaceful. You are present in the panic, in the shallow breaths, in the silent fears. Lord, I want my life to be more than survival. I want it to be full, open, alive. And that kind of living starts with breath. Not hurried, not forced, but steady, grounded, rooted in grace. So I ask you again, teach me to slow down, to make space, to breathe through the noise, to hear the gentle whisper of your voice reminding me that I am safe, that I am known, that I am not expected to carry the world. I think of all the others who wake up like me, with hearts already racing before their feet touch the floor. Those who live in a state of quiet panic, who feel like they are always behind, always trying to catch up. I pray for them now, for the parent overwhelmed before breakfast, for the student afraid of failing, for the caregiver running on fumes, for the person battling invisible battles. Let them pause long enough to feel their breath. Let that pause become a meeting place with you. Help us see breath as more than biology. Let it be worship. Let it be an act of trust. Let it be a defiance of the rush and the fear and the noise. When I breathe slowly, I declare that you are in control, that I do not have to hurry through healing, that I do not have to rush toward worth, that you are already here, and that is enough. And Lord, when I forget again, when I slip back into old patterns of pushing and proving, gently call me back. Back to the breath, back to stillness, back to the truth that I do not have to run to find you. You are already with me, closer than my next breath. Let today be marked not by how much I accomplish, but by how present I am in the moments that matter. Let me notice the wind in the trees, the way sunlight rests on the floor, the rhythm of my own breathing as a quiet miracle. Let me feel the weight lifting, not because life is suddenly easy, but because I am no longer holding it all alone. So I sit here now, breathing slowly, not because I have all the answers, but because I believe you do. And with every inhale, I receive what I need for this moment. And with every exhale, I let go of what I was never meant to keep. I do not have to rush. I do not have to prove. I do not have to hold my breath waiting for the worst. I can breathe again fully, freely, faithfully, because you are here. You are peace. You are enough, God. As I sit here breathing more freely than I have in a long time, I feel the weight I once carried beginning to shift. It has not vanished, and not everything is fixed, but something inside me is softer, more open, as if, in all the letting go, you have been planting something deeper in me, a quiet hope, a new way of seeing. And now, I find myself bringing you the places where hope once died, the memories scorched by pain, the pieces of me that feel beyond repair. Because if you can teach me to breathe again, maybe you can teach me to believe again, to believe that even in the ashes, something beautiful can grow. There are parts of my story I have tried to forget, moments I have buried deep, wounds I have learned to live around. I told myself it was strength to move on, to stop feeling, to build something new without ever looking back. But now I see that I never gave those places a chance to heal. I only covered them up. I never invited you into the ruins. I was too afraid they were beyond redemption. Too afraid you would be disappointed in what you would find. But you already know, and you are not afraid of ashes. You are the God who brings beauty out of what is broken, who speaks life where death tried to settle, who writes new stories out of pages torn and stained. I have heard that truth before, but I want to experience it now, not as a distant promise, but as a present reality. So I open my hands, trembling and unsure, and I place in them all the ashes I have tried to hide. The failed relationships, the moments I felt abandoned, the shame I could not shake, the dreams that never happened, the parts of me that were lost in silence and sorrow. I give them to you not as offerings, but as surrender, because I can rebuild myself. I have tried. I have layered achievement over emptiness, laughter over grief, business over brokenness, but none of it held. Only you can turn ashes into beauty. Only you can restore what I thought was gone for good. So I am here, Lord, not with answers or explanations, but with what remains, with what was burned down, with what still aches. Show me that healing does not mean erasing the past. It means transforming it. Show me that I do not have to pretend those things did not happen, but I also do not have to be defined by them. Show me how you take the most painful chapters and weave them into something that breathes life into others. Let me not waste my sorrow. Let it become the soil where compassion grows. Let it be the ground from which mercy rises. There is something holy in surrendering what I thought was ruined. Something sacred in trusting you to take what was destroyed and make it mean something. You do not ask me to pretend. You do not ask me to explain. You just ask me to bring it. So I do. I bring it all. the heartbreak, the regret, the anger I still do not know how to express, the moments I gave up, the nights I did not think I would make it. I lay them down, and I wait, and even now, in the waiting, I sense you moving, not always loudly, but faithfully, quietly gathering what I thought was lost, gently holding what I thought was too broken, reminding me that ashes are not the end of the story. They are the evidence that something once mattered, that something once burned with passion or love or purpose. And even in their gray remains, you are not done. Let beauty begin to bloom in the hidden places. Let joy return where sorrow lived too long. Let forgiveness take root where bitterness once grew. Let grace pour into the cracks, not to cover them, but to fill them with light. Let the ruins become sacred ground, not because they were destroyed, but because you entered them. God, help me see myself differently, not as someone damaged, but as someone being restored, not as someone forgotten, but as someone being reimagined by your hands. Let me speak to myself with the gentleness you speak over me. Let me remember that healing is not a straight line, but a sacred journey, and every step I take, every breath, every prayer, every honest moment is part of the rebuilding. There is still pain, yes, still reminders of what was lost, but there is also hope now, a quiet sense that you are not finished. That somehow, the deepest wounds can become the strongest testimonies. That somehow, my story is not just about survival, but about redemption. That you are turning every tear into something that matters. That you waste nothing, not even this. Today, let me live as someone being rebuilt, not with pressure to be perfect, but with the freedom to be real. Let me walk through this day carrying not shame, but surrender. Let me see beauty even in small things, a sunrise, a smile, a moment of peace that was not there before. Let those be reminders that something is shifting, that the ashes are not lifeless, that new life is on the way. And Lord, for anyone else who carries ashes in silence, for the one who feels like their best days are behind them, for the one who believes too much has been lost, I lift them to you. Meet them in their quiet sorrow. Show them, like you are showing me, that no place is too far gone, that healing is not only possible, but promised, that what looks like an ending can become the place where something begins. Thank you for being the God of after, the God who does not stop at what was destroyed, the God who rebuilds, restores, renews. I give you what remains, and I choose to believe that even from this, you can create something beautiful, even from me. Lord, if you are the one who brings beauty from ashes, then surely you are also the one who speaks peace into my chaos. I feel the remnants of that old storm still circling in me, not as loud as before, but still present, still whispering doubts, still unsettling my thoughts. Even in moments of clarity, there is a hum beneath the surface, an echo of fear, an anticipation of something going wrong. And in that noise, I need your voice more than ever. The voice that knows how to reach through the wind, the voice that knows how to silence the storm without raising it first. God, you see how noisy it gets inside me, how my thoughts spiral before I even realize it, how quickly I rehearse every worst-case scenario, every imagined failure. It does not always come with warning signs. Sometimes I wake up and it is already there, like a current pulling me under before I have even taken a step. And I try to manage it, to reason with it, to drown it out with distractions. But what I really need is you, not more noise, not more effort. Just you. Just your voice cutting through the panic and telling me, again, what is true. Speak over me now, Lord. Speak louder than the lies that say I am not safe, not loved, not steady. Speak gently, but clearly. I am listening. I am tired of listening to everything else: fear, shame, pressure, confusion. None of it knows me the way you do. None of it sees the depths of me and stays. But you stay. You do not just visit my storm, you enter it. And more than that, you command it to be still. I think about the moments you calm the sea, not just to impress a crowd, but to reach hearts overwhelmed with fear. I imagine the disciples, panicked and soaked, crying out as the water threatened to overtake them. And you, standing in the middle of that chaos, simply saying, "Peace, be still." That is the voice I long for. That is the voice I need today. Let those words settle into the places where I still brace myself for bad news, into the places where I stay on edge, not because of what is happening, but because of what I fear might happen. Let your peace find the tightness in my chest, the racing in my mind, the quickness in my breath. You created all of these parts of me. You know how to steady them. You know how to calm what nothing else can reach. I confess, Lord, that sometimes I doubt whether peace is even possible, not in theory, but in my day-to-day life. I am so used to being on guard that it feels strange to relax. I have carried stress for so long that calm feels unfamiliar. But I want to learn a new way. I want to believe that peace is not the absence of problems, but the presence of you in the middle of them. I want to live as someone who trusts your voice more than their own fears. Teach me how to pause when the waves rise. Teach me how to breathe when panic builds. Teach me how to recognize your nearness, even when the storm does not stop immediately. Because sometimes you calm the sea, and sometimes you calm me instead. And either way, your voice is still faithful. Your presence is still steady. Your love is still enough. Let me become familiar with your tone, not just your words. Let me know the sound of safety, the sound of truth, the sound of a father who is not shaken by anything that shakes me. The world is loud, and the noise is constant. But I want to hear you more. I want to build my days around your voice, not just check in occasionally when I feel overwhelmed. Help me discern what is your voice and what is not. When anxiety pretends to be wisdom, when shame dresses itself up as responsibility, when pressure masquerades as discipline, help me see the difference. Let your voice cut through the confusion and bring me back to the center, back to peace, back to you. And if I forget again, if I get swept up in the noise, or pulled under by worry remind me that I am never too far gone to hear you. Remind me that even when I can't find the words, you still speak. You still draw near. You still care. I do not have to fight for your attention. I already have it. I do not have to shout to be heard. You already hear me, even in the quietest cry. Lord, I lift to you the things that stir the storm within me. The deadlines, the decisions, the unknowns that wake me up in the middle of the night, the conversations I replay too many times, the pressure I put on myself to fix everything. I place them all before you, and I ask not just for relief, but for transformation. Let your voice shape the way I walk through each hour. Let your peace anchor me in moments when I want to drift. And I think of others who feel like they are drowning, maybe not visibly, but inside. Those who smile while silently panicking. Those who carry anxiety like a second skin. Those who have learned to function in fear without ever naming it. I lift them to you. Speak peace over them too. Let them know they are not weak for feeling this way. Let them know they are not alone in the storm. Thank you for being a God who is not distant in difficulty. Thank you for being present not just in the breakthrough, but in the build-up, in the long waiting, in the middle of the storm. Help me live today as someone who believes in your nearness, someone who listens for your voice above all others, someone who lets peace not panic write the story of this day. I do not know what this day will hold, but I know who holds me, and that is enough. Let that truth settle deeper than my fear. Let it become the stillness at the center of my soul. I choose to listen for your voice, the one that does not compete with the noise, but rises above it, the one that reminds me I am held, even here, even now, even if the storm is not over yet. Father, if your voice can calm the storm around me, then surely it can also reach the places within me that I have buried and forgotten. Not because they are healed, but because I did not know what else to do with them. There are wounds I carry that do not show up on the surface. They do not bleed or bruise in ways others can see, but they are real. They are deep. They have shaped the way I walk through the world, how I respond to love, how I expect disappointment, how I sometimes prepare for rejection before it even comes. These wounds are quieter than the loud fears, but no less powerful. And today, I bring them to you. I do not always know how to name what hurts. Some of it is old. Some of it is layered. Some of it feels like it came from nowhere, but settled in me all the same. Pain that lives in the background. Pain I have learned to work around, to function through. But just because I have adapted to it does not mean I am whole. Just because I have kept moving does not mean I have healed. And now, in this quiet space with you, I feel the permission to stop pretending, to stop covering what still aches. God, you are not afraid of my hidden places. You are not overwhelmed by the pain I hide even from myself. You do not need my explanations. You do not need me to justify why I still flinch at certain words or freeze in certain moments. You already know the story. You were there when it happened. You saw the conversation that changed me, the silence that stung, the betrayal that caught me off guard, the words that never left, even though the person did, and even now. You stay. You do not rush my healing. You do not shame me for not being over it yet. You simply draw near. You sit with me in the layers. You help me sort what I have avoided. You gently uncover, not to expose, but to restore. You show me that bringing something into the light is not about reliving the pain, but about inviting you into it. You are not here to judge the wound. You are here to tend to it. Lord, I want to trust you with the parts of me I have always guarded, the vulnerable places, the scared places, the angry places, the confused places, the pieces of me I only show in glimpses, if at all. I want to believe that healing is possible, that I am not too complicated, not too broken, not too far gone, that you can work in places I have not touched in years, that you are not intimidated by how long it has been. You are just waiting for the invitation. So here it is. I invite you into the wound, into the moment that left a mark, into the years I built walls, into the lies I believed about myself because of what someone else said or did. I do not want to carry this pain into every new relationship, every new opportunity, every new day. I want to live whole. I want to respond from love, not from fear. I want to expect joy, not always prepare for loss. But I know that kind of freedom starts with honesty. And today, I choose to be honest with you. There are things I have not said, not because I did not want to, but because I did not think they mattered anymore. But they do. They have shaped me. They have followed me. And I want to give them a place to be heard, to be healed. I want to say out loud what I have only whispered in my mind. I want to bring into prayer what I thought was too small, or too messy, or too shameful. You are showing me that nothing is too small for you, that every wound matters, that every scar has a story, and you care about them all. Help me recognize the signs of an unhealed place, not so I can hide them again, but so I can invite you into them. Help me notice when my reaction is too sharp, when my silence is too long, when my detachment is more about protection than peace. Let those moments become checkpoints of grace, not condemnation. Let them remind me that healing is not about perfection, but presence. Your presence. Steady, gentle, kind. I believe you can restore what was lost. I believe you can speak truth over what was twisted. I believe you can turn even my deepest wound into something that shines with mercy, not because the pain disappears, because it no longer defines me. Because you met me there. Because you walked with me through it. Because you touched the place no one else could, and you did not walk away. Let me live today with compassion for the places that still hurt. Let me be patient with my process. Let me release the pressure to have it all resolved. Let me rest in the truth that progress does not always look like resolution. Sometimes it just looks like showing up. Sometimes it looks like praying when it still hurts. Sometimes it looks like letting the tears come without pushing them down. And Lord, let that compassion extend to others, too. To the people I encounter who seem fine, but are carrying their own invisible wounds. Let me see beyond behavior. Let me respond with gentleness, not judgment. Let me remember how much I have needed grace, and let that memory shape how I offer it. Thank you for never rushing me. Thank you for seeing beneath the surface. Thank you for holding the wounds no one else can touch. I may not know how to heal them on my own, but I trust that you do. I trust that with you, even the wounds I can see can be transformed. Even the parts I have hidden can be made new. Even this pain can become a place of deep, undeniable redemption, and maybe one day, what once hurt will help someone else know they are not alone. Maybe my healing will become someone else's hope, but for now, I start with surrender, with honesty, with presence, and I ask you to stay here with me, in the quiet place where healing begins. Father, as I sit here, heart still tender from the places you have been touching, I begin to see another layer, one I have avoided, one I have tiptoed around for far too long. Forgiveness, not the easy kind that comes when the wound is shallow and the offender says sorry, but the hard kind, the kind that asks me to lay down what feels like rightful anger, the kind that whispers freedom even as my flesh still clings to the pain, the kind that does not depend on an apology or on justice being served, but on my willingness to release the debt I have held tight. You have been so patient with me, Lord. I feel your spirit nudging me, not with pressure but with truth, that no matter how deeply I have been wronged, I cannot walk fully healed while dragging the chains of bitterness behind me. I cannot taste joy in its fullness when resentment is still lingering on my tongue. And you know it is not because I have not tried. I have said the words, I forgive, before. But forgiveness, I am learning, is not always a moment, it is a process, a decision I must keep choosing when memories return, when emotions flare, when injustice feels fresh again. There are names I carry in my heart, people I never thought I would have to forgive. Some wounded me with cruelty, others with silence. Some did not even realize the harm they caused. Yet I have carried it, and some did, and never looked back. But all the same, the weight remains, and I see now that it is not just hurting me emotionally, it is clogging the flow of grace in my life. It is keeping me tethered to moments I long to move beyond. God, I bring their names to you now, not because they deserve it, not because what happened did not matter, but because I need freedom. I need peace. I need space in my heart where anger used to sit. I need the kind of lightness that only forgiveness brings. Help me, Father, to unclench my hands, to release what I have gripped in self-protection, to trust that you are just, and that justice is not mine to carry like a sword, is yours to hold in wisdom and love. It does not feel fair. It feels like letting them off the hook. But you remind me letting go is not letting evil win. It is trusting that evil does not get the last word, that you do, and that healing begins the moment I stop waiting for someone else to fix what they broke, and instead allow you to work in me. Lord, help me remember that forgiveness does not mean forgetting. It does not erase the past. It does not invite harm again. Boundaries are not bitterness, and wisdom is not unforgiving, but somewhere in the tension of pain and grace. You show me how to bless those who've hurt me, not because I feel like it, but because blessing begins where obedience begins. Teach me how to pray for them not with sarcasm or distance, but with honest hope that you would meet them. Change them. Bless them. Let me stop rehearsing their offenses in my mind, and instead replace those scripts with prayers, even quiet ones. Even if I start small, you see the effort, and you meet me there. God, you have forgiven me more than I could ever repay, for things no one else even knows, for thoughts I never spoke, for choices I regret deeply. And still, you call me beloved. You restore me with gentleness. How can I cling to someone else's faults when you have released me from mine? Break the cycle of revenge that has tried to root itself in me. Wash over my thoughts when bitterness rises. Guard my heart when hurt replays. Fill those spaces with your peace, not manufactured peace, but real, soul-deep calm that can only come from letting go. And Lord, let this forgiveness not just be for those distant in time or space. Help me forgive the people close to me, the ones I see daily, the ones whose words still echo from yesterday. Spouses, children, parents, friends, coworkers, the ones I expect better from, and who disappoint me still. Show me how to live in grace while still being honest, how to address pain without holding grudges, how to confront wrong without growing hard. Sometimes the hardest person to forgive is myself, for what I allowed, for what I missed, for what I did in fear, for what I did not do when I had the chance. Help me release that weight too. I do not want to keep punishing myself in quiet ways. I do not want to keep playing judge and jury over my own life. I want to stand in the grace you already gave me and live like I believe it is enough. Let forgiveness soften my face, shift my tone, change how I carry myself in the world. Let it seep into the way I interact with strangers, the way I listen, the way I do not interrupt, the way I show up when someone else is hurting. Make me a person marked by grace, not because I have never been wounded, but because I have been healed in the deepest places. And if there are names I have forgotten, bring them to mind gently. You know what I am ready for. You know when it is time to release what I thought I had buried too deep. Help me not to fear the memory. Help me to believe that even if it resurfaces, it does not control me anymore. You are the God who sets captives free, not just from external chains, but from the invisible prisons of our hearts. And today, you are unlocking a door in me, one I thought I would closed for good, one I did not realize I still had the key to. Thank you for showing me that forgiveness is not weakness, but power. It is not forgetting, but choosing to live. It is not approval of wrong, but alignment with grace. As I move forward today, let forgiveness echo in my actions, in the way I speak, in the way I breathe, in the way I choose peace when offense knocks. And when I forget, remind me. When it is hard, strengthen me. When it feels impossible, whisper that you have done it before, and you will do it again in me. through me, for me, and in that sacred place of release, let me feel the lightness of grace doing its work, quietly, deeply, freely, Lord. In the quiet stillness that follows my confessions, I feel a stirring inside, a gentle whisper calling me to surrender, not just my sins or fears, but also my pride. You know how I have long clung to the illusion of control, how often I have tried to earn love, respect, and worth through strength, performance, or appearances. But in your presence, all that feels so fragile. Stripped of my defenses, I come not to impress, but to be transformed. In your light, humility is no longer weakness, it is the sacred gateway to freedom. God, teach me to walk humbly with you, not just when I am low, but even when I feel strong. Let me not mistake success for invincibility, nor recognition for righteousness. Let me see that true greatness in your kingdom is marked not by applause, but by compassion, not by titles, but by tenderness. Break the habits of comparison, the inner narratives that scream for validation. They have exhausted my soul. Instead, fill me with a quiet confidence that comes from knowing who I am in you, loved, chosen, and enough. Father, there are moments when I want to be noticed, to be praised, to feel seen. And yet, you gently remind me that being known by you is the greatest honor of all. Help me find joy in hidden places, the unseen acts of kindness, the private prayers no one hears, the faithful choices when no one is watching. Remind me that you see in secret and reward in grace. Teach me to take the lowest seat, not out of shame, but out of reverence for others. Lord, if my voice ever grows louder than my love, quiet me. If my opinions begin to harden my heart, soften me. If my convictions lead me to judge rather than to serve, humble me. Let me be a vessel of your mercy, not just a speaker of truth. Make me quick to listen, slow to anger, eager to understand. And when I fail, as I surely will, may I be just as quick to admit it, to repent, and to begin again. Not because I fear punishment, but because I love the purity that comes from walking humbly before you. God, I release the need to always be right. I lay down the pressure to be perfect. I surrender the pride that refuses help, the self-sufficiency that isolates. I admit my need not just once in crisis, but daily, deeply, sincerely. You oppose the proud, but give grace to the humble. So here I am, hands open, heart bowed, asking not for a throne, but for a towel. Let me serve, let me kneel, let me honor others without fearing it diminishes me. Father, thank you for the people who have shown me humility, not through words, but by their quiet strength, the ones who forgive without fanfare, who love without demanding return, who lead by lowering themselves. I want to be like them. I want to carry your presence in such a way that it does not magnify me, but reflects you. Let humility be the fragrance I leave behind, the mark of grace on every encounter. Even in suffering, Lord, let me stay low before you, not with a spirit of defeat, with a spirit of dependence. In valleys, Help me not to curse the path, but to discover the treasures buried there. Patience, endurance, empathy. In victories, remind me that I did not climb alone, that every achievement rests on shoulders unseen your mercy. The prayers of others, the grace that held me together. I am never self-made. I am always God-sustained. God, I pray especially for humility in how I handle others' brokenness. Keep me from the arrogance of distance. Let me never forget the pit you pulled me from, so I may reach into another's without judgment. Give me words that restore, not tear down. Give me eyes that see the weary, not just the strong. Let my hands lift, not point. Let my posture always mirror yours, kneeling to wash, standing to defend, embracing without condition. Father, as I go about this day, temptations to pride will surely rise, whether it is in moments of success or flashes of insecurity. Let me pause and remember, you are my source, my anchor, my worth. I have nothing that you did not give. I am not here to build my name, but to reflect yours. Keep me grounded, not in shame, but in awe. In humility, there is rest. In humility, there is peace. In humility, there is you. And so, I begin this morning not with declarations of strength, but with a heart bowed in reverence. Let every step I take be one of quiet courage, gentle strength, and holy surrender. Let humility shape my speech, my thoughts, my actions, not to make me smaller, but to make more space for you to shine. You are the one I follow, and you stooped low to lift us all. Make me like you, Lord, not just in power, but in posture. Father, even as humility softens the soil of my heart, I begin to notice what lies buried beneath the wounds I have tried to forget, the scars I have hidden beneath strength and silence. They resurface not to shame me, but to be healed. You see them clearly, yet you do not recoil. You approach with gentleness, never forcing, always inviting. In your presence, my pain is not a flaw to fix, but a sacred space where your mercy desires to dwell. God, I bring you the hurt I can name and the ache I still do not understand. The betrayal that caught me off guard. The words that pierced deeper than they should have. The absence I never wanted to admit mattered. These things have shaped how I see myself, how I protect my heart, how I withhold trust. But I do not want to live guarded anymore. I want to live whole. So I offer you the fragments, not because I know how to piece them together, but because you already hold the blueprint of my healing. Lord, remind me that wounds are not the end of the story. You are the God who brings beauty from ashes, who turns graves into gardens. My brokenness is not a detour, it is often the very place you begin your most sacred work. Help me stop resenting the pain long enough to ask what you might be growing in its soil. Tenderness, empathy, a deeper capacity to love others in their pain. Let no wound be wasted. Let every scar become a story of grace. Father, sometimes the hardest wounds to heal are the ones I have inflicted on myself, the poor choices, the words I can take back, The moments I wish I could rewrite. Shame clings tight. Regret whispers that I am disqualified from joy. But you lean in closer and speak differently. You tell me redemption is not about erasing the past, but redeeming it. You weave my failures into the fabric of compassion. You remind me that nothing is too far gone for your mercy. God, I also bring you the wounds that have not yet been resolved, the relationships still aching, the apologies I never received, the questions still unanswered. Teach me how to carry open-ended pain without bitterness. Teach me that forgiveness is not pretending it did not hurt, but choosing to place the weight in your hands, rather than dragging it through every day. If you are the judge, then I do not have to be. If you are the healer, then I do not have to rush the timeline. I just have to keep surrendering. Lord, help me resist the urge to define myself by what happened to me. I am not the insult. I am not the abandonment. I am not the loss. I am yours, and in you, I am not just surviving, I am being renewed. Even when I do not feel it, you are restoring what was stolen. You are singing over the wounds with melodies I do not yet understand. One day, I will look back and see not just what was broken, but what was born. Father, I want to live in wonder again, the kind of wonder that is not naive, but rooted in hope. The kind that sees the cracks in my story and still believes light will shine through. Let all return not because life is perfect, but because grace keeps showing up. Let joy bubble up in the places where sorrow once lived. Let laughter find its way back to my lips, not because the pain did not matter, but because you have shown me it does not define the whole narrative. God, show me how to hold space for others' wounds without needing to fix them. Let my presence be a balm, not a lecture. Give me ears that do not rush to respond, but simply listen. Give me eyes that recognize pain even when it is hidden behind smiles. Let me be the kind of person who does not run from messiness, but who stands in the middle and whispers, "You are not alone," because that is what you have done for me, again and again. Lord, thank you for the moments you met me in my lowest places, the nights I cried without words and still felt your nearness, the times I wanted to give up but somehow kept breathing, because you sustained me. I did not always see it then, but I see it now. You were there in the silence, in the shadow, in the stillness. And if you were faithful then, I can trust you now. I can trust you tomorrow. You are the same yesterday, today, and forever. Father, let this be the day I stop hiding the parts of me that hurt. Let this be the day I believe you are not just capable of healing, but willing, that you do not despise my weakness, you meet me in it, that you do not abandon me. When I am undone, you draw nearer. You turn wounds into altars. You make brokenness holy. And when I dare to lift my eyes again, I begin to see it the wonder, not in spite of the pain, but because of how you have loved me through it. Lord, as the echo of healing still lingers in my chest, I find myself standing at the edge of something unfamiliar, the possibility of beginning again, after the H, after the silence, after the long night of wrestling. I sense a new dawn whispering hope. And yet, I hesitate. Starting over sounds brave until I remember how fragile I feel. Still, You call me forward not with pressure, but with promise. You do not demand I leap, only that I step. Father, there is something sacred about the first step, especially when it follows a season of collapse, when dreams have crumbled and the ground has shifted. It takes more courage to begin again than to keep going. Beginning again means I must open my heart once more, risk disappointment once more, trust you once more. And so I ask, not for guarantees, but for grace. Let my small yes be enough to awaken your strength within me. God, show me how to start from where I am, not where I wish I was. I do not need to wait for perfection, for clarity, for confidence. What I need is permission to be in progress. Thank you for reminding me that you are not ashamed of my slow beginnings. You are not measuring my worth by how quickly I rise, but by how sincerely I return. So even if I tremble, I return. Even if I doubt, I show up. Even if I carry remnants of the past, I choose to move forward with you. Lord, some days, starting over feels like trying to build with broken bricks, but you are the architect of restoration. You do not discard what has been damaged. You repurpose it. You rebuild with it. You use every scar, every tear, every chapter I thought was wasted, and you lay a new foundation not of fear, but of faith, not of shame, but of grace. You write beginnings in the same place others wrote endings. Father, help me let go of the voice that says, "It is too late," that whisper of regret that tries to convince me I have missed my moment. With you, time is never wasted. You do not rush me. You redeem me. Every detour, every delay, every dead end becomes fertile ground for new life. Let me see each sunrise not as a continuation of the same old struggle, but as an invitation to believe again. Try again. Live again. God, I think of the stories you have told of prodigals welcomed home, of dry bones rising, of barren fields blooming. You never run out of fresh beginnings. And if you did it then, you can do it now. So plant that same courage in me, the courage to try again even when I have failed before. The courage to rebuild even when I have been broken. The courage to forgive even when the pain still pulses. The courage to love even when it was love that hurt me. Lord, help me resist the lie that starting again means I have gone backward. Growth does not always look like forward motion. Sometimes it looks like circling back to the root. Sometimes it looks like learning to walk again and forgetting how to breathe. Sometimes it looks like falling into your arms and saying, "I do not know how, but I trust you." That is enough. That is holy. That is how new beginnings are born, not from having all the answers, but from being willing to ask the right questions. Father, today I choose to believe that my story is not over, that even if I do not see the ending, the author is still writing, that the page I turn today holds something you have been waiting to show me. Maybe it is peace I never thought I would feel again. Maybe it is strength I never thought I would find again. Maybe it is purpose I thought had vanished. Whatever it is, I know it will carry your fingerprints, because you never begin without intention. God, as I begin again, Help me extend the same mercy to others. Remind me that they, too, are restarting in quiet ways I may not see, that they carry invisible burdens while trying to build new lives. Let me not judge their pace or question their process. Let me be the kind of person who celebrates their courage, who speaks life over their steps, who believes in second chances not just for myself, but for them too. Lord, if fear comes, let it find me already moving. If doubt speaks, let it find me already trusting. If shame returns, let it find me already surrounded by grace. I will not wait to be fearless. I will begin anyway. I will not wait to feel worthy. I will start with your worthiness covering mine. I will not wait for the path to be clear. I will trust that you are lighting the way one step at a time. Father, there is something beautiful about a soul that chooses hope again after despair, that dares to dream again after disappointment, that picks up the pen and writes another line when it seemed the story had ended. Let my life be that kind of beauty, quiet, brave, unfinished, not polished, but faithful, not loud, but enduring. Let beginning again not be something I fear, but something I cherish, a daily rhythm of resurrection, a morning melody of mercy. God, I come before you now not with loud cries or desperate words, but with a quiet heart that longs to understand the purpose of silence. After the courage to begin again, I find myself listening more deeply not for answers that thunder, but for whispers that heal. There is a sacredness to stillness that I once resisted, fearing it meant abandonment. But today, I begin to realize that silence is not the absence of you. It is the space where you speak most clearly. Lord, I used to fill every gap with noise conversations, distractions, endless striving to feel something. I feared silence because it forced me to face what was underneath. The questions, the unmet desires. But now, in this still moment, I recognize that silence is not empty. It is pregnant with presence. It is the gentle breath of heaven brushing against my soul. It is where I stop performing and simply become. Father, teach me not to fear the quiet seasons of life. Teach me that silence is not punishment. It is preparation. It is the quiet soil where roots grow deeper. It is the hush before the bloom, when you withdraw your thunder and choose not to answer in fire or wind. I will learn to wait for you in the whisper. I will learn to hear you not with my ears, but with my spirit. I will learn to trust that even when you are silent, you are still good. God, I confess how quickly I equate silence with distance. I mistake your stillness for absence. But you are never far. You are closer than breath. Even when you say nothing, in the silence, you are writing truths into my bones. You are carving out space within me to receive more than noise ever could. You are teaching me to depend on your character when I cannot see your hand. That is deeper faith. That is unwavering trust. Lord, I think of all the moments in Scripture when you were silent before the flood, before the cross, before the resurrection. Silence has always been the prelude to something sacred. So if you are quiet now, I will not rush to fill the space. I will not grasp for meaning. I will simply sit with you. I will let silence sanctify me. I will let the hush of your presence quiet the storm within me. I will let the absence of sound become the abundance of peace. Father, when I bring you my questions and you do not reply, help me not to grow bitter. Help me to grow still. Help me to see that unanswered prayers are not always unkindness. Sometimes they are invitations to trust, to surrender, to mature. Sometimes silence is not withholding, but healing. Sometimes what I need most is not a reply, but a reminder that I am still held, still seen, still loved. God, in this world so filled with constant chatter, teach me the discipline of quiet. Let me not be afraid to pause, to turn down the volume, to hear the soft music of your grace in the silence. I remember who I am, not what I produce, not how I perform, but simply a child resting in the presence of a faithful Father. Let that truth anchor me when the silence stretches longer than I expected. Lord, help me embrace silence not just in solitude, but in relationships. Teach me that I do not always need to have the last word, that love can be spoken through presence, not just language, that peace is sometimes expressed in a look, a breath, a shared stillness. Let me not be afraid of the unspoken. Let me learn to listen not just to words, but to hearts. Father, there are times when silence feels heavy, when it sits in the room like an unanswered letter. In those moments, remind me that you are still here. You are in the air that holds me. You are in the stillness that slows me. You are in the patience that steadies me. And even when I hear nothing, you are saying more than I know. You are speaking in ways that only eternity can interpret. God, I think of the night sky, how it says nothing, yet speaks everything. Stars do not shout, but they shine. The moon does not explain itself, but it reflects light. Let me be like that. Let my silence be radiant with your presence. Let my quietness carry weight. Let the world see that peace is not always found in answers, but in abiding. Lord, if you are silent today, I will not despair. I will trust that you are working beneath the surface, that roots are growing even when there are no leaves, that foundations are being laid even when walls have not yet risen, that the story continues even when the narrator pauses. I will learn to live in the pauses. I will learn to breathe in the in-between. Father, you are the God who speaks, but you are also the God who waits. And in your waiting, you shape me. In your silence, you refine me. In your stillness, you hold me. So I will not rush you. I will not force answers you are not yet giving. I will not fear what is holy. I will embrace the silence, not as absence, but as intimacy, not as delay, but as devotion, not as void, but as a veil between what is seen and what is sacred. Lord, you see the places in my soul where dreams have withered, and where once bold steps have grown timid. You know the moments I have stood before closed doors, hands trembling not from the weight of the unknown, from the exhaustion of starting over. And yet, this morning, I sense a whisper in my spirit, the invitation to rise again, to believe again, to begin again. Yesterday's failures cling like dust on my skin. But you, God, offer the living water to wash me clean. In the stillness of this morning, I lift my heart to you with all its scars, its hesitations, its reluctant hopes. Teach me not to see my past as an anchor, but as a testimony of grace carried through fire. Let the ashes not mark an ending, but serve as fertile soil for something new to bloom. You are the God who meets us at the edge of broken beginnings. You called Moses when he had fled in shame. You raised Peter after denial. You welcomed the prodigal not with questions, but with open arms. So why should I believe that my story ends here? Why should I fear the blank page when you hold the pen? Lord, in the quiet moments of sunrise, breathe new life into the corners of my soul, where I have stopped believing change is possible. Ignite again the dreams I have buried. Help me unlearn the language of defeat and begin to speak in declarations of hope. Let courage rise not as a feeling, but as a choice, a quiet resolve to try once more. Knowing you walk beside me, even if I step trembling, I step. Even if I feel small, I move. Because faith, you remind me, is not about the absence of fear, but about trusting you enough to move through it. As the dawn stretches across the horizon, so may my spirit stretch toward possibility. May I no longer measure today by yesterday's sorrow, but by the fresh mercy that you pour out with the rising sun. Sometimes beginning again does not mean moving cities or changing jobs. Sometimes it means forgiving someone I swore I could not. Sometimes it means returning to a conversation left unfinished. Sometimes it means praying even when I feel numb. Remind me that small beginnings are sacred beginnings. The seed does not despise its first root, and neither do you despise my feeble efforts. You, Lord, are the Redeemer of time, the one who restores wasted years and broken pieces. Nothing is too ruined for your touch. No timeline is too late for your grace. If you are with me, then my beginning, no matter how delayed, is still holy ground. I surrender my timelines, my expectations, my definitions of success. Instead, I ask for alignment with your purpose. Infuse my ordinary routines with purpose. Today not be a repetition of regret, but a rehearsal of resurrection. Teach my eyes to see with hope. Teach my hands to work with intention. Teach my heart to beat in rhythm with yours. If I must begin again every morning, then so be it, for you are faithful every morning. Lord, replace the soundtrack of shame with the anthem of your truth. I am not defined by how many times I have fallen, but by the fact that you have lifted me each time. And today, I will rise again not in my own strength, but in the knowledge that you go before me. You are already in the places I am afraid to reach. You are already working in the prayers I have not yet dared to whisper aloud. So let today be the day I stop running from what broke me and start running toward the one who heals me. Let today be the day I choose vulnerability over hiding, progress over perfection, obedience over fear. Let today be a beginning not born of desperation, but of quiet, sacred trust. You are the potter, and I am the clay. Shape me again. Start me again. You make all things new, not just once, but again and again. And for that, I worship you, God, as I continue this quiet walk with you. I feel the tension that stirs in my heart when waiting stretches longer than I hoped. The desire to begin again has awakened, yet the path forward still feels unclear. I long for movement, for answers, for change, but you whisper instead of rushing. To remain. You teach me that waiting is not wasted time when I wait with you. So here I am, Lord, still at the edge, not yet crossing, not yet running, simply standing in your presence. And in this stillness, I hear the invitation to trust, not just trust in the outcome, but trust in your presence while I wait. My flesh wants to escape discomfort. My mind seeks resolution. But my soul is learning to breathe in the quiet and know that you are near. You are not hurried, and yet you are never late. Your timing is often mysterious, but always purposeful. Even when my prayers seem to echo back in silence, I choose to believe that you are moving in ways unseen, shaping both the world around me and the world within me. For in the delay, you develop patience. In the pause, you cultivate faith. Teach me to sit in the hallway before the door opens, without trying to pick the lock. Teach me to lean into hope, not because circumstances shift, but because you are unchanging. You are the God who sees the full picture, the master of seasons, the keeper of time. If you have asked me to wait, then it must be because there is still something sacred happening here. Help me surrender the false belief that action always means progress. Show me how waiting in your will is not stagnation, but transformation. As the seed waits beneath the soil and the stars remain fixed until their time to shine, so will I stay rooted in faith. Let me not confuse your silence with absence, nor mistake your restraint for indifference. In this waiting season, Lord, make my heart tender to your voice. Remove the layers of impatience and fear. Help me unclench my fists from forced solutions and open my hands to divine timing. Instead of striving, let me learn the rhythm of surrender. Instead of fretting, let me choose stillness wrapped in trust. I remember how you waited for Lazarus to die before calling him forth, how that delay served a deeper purpose. I recall how Abraham waited decades for a promised child, how Joseph waited years in prison, how David waited in caves, how even Jesus waited in the wilderness. If those you love most waited with purpose, then so can I. Use this time, Lord, to refine me. Mold my desires so they match your heart. Clear away what clouds my vision, until all I see is you present, patient, kind. May this season of waiting produce fruit I could never harvest in haste. Endurance, wisdom, quiet strength, and may it teach me that I am not alone, for you wait with me, never leaving, never looking away. Sometimes I want to rush because I fear being forgotten, but you remind me that I am engraved on the palm of your hand. Sometimes I panic because I think I am falling behind, but you tell me that I am exactly where you need me to be. Sometimes I wonder if I have missed my chance, but you assure me that nothing is lost when it is surrendered to you. Lord, when I wake each morning and see no change, help me rejoice not in what I see, but in who you are. When prayers go seemingly unanswered, let me trust that you are answering in ways higher than I can comprehend. Let the sunrise remind me that your mercies are renewed not when my situation changes, but simply because you are faithful. While I wait, I will worship. While I wait, I will believe. While I wait, I will breathe slowly, walk gently, and trust deeply. For you are not a God of delay, but of design. And in this design, every second of waiting is woven into the tapestry of something far greater than I can imagine. So even if today looks the same as yesterday, I will lift my eyes. Even if the road remains hidden, I will walk in obedience to the next small step. And even if my heart feels restless, I will rest in the truth that you are not finished yet. You are worth the wait, Lord. As the stillness of waiting softens into surrender, I begin to sense the subtle beauty of the ordinary. The weight of yesterday's urgency now dissolves into a gentle invitation, one where you beckon me to discover grace not in the dramatic or the dazzling, but in the unnoticed corners of daily life. It is in these small and seemingly insignificant moments that your presence often shines brightest, hidden like treasure waiting to be found. I once believed I needed mountaintop experiences to feel close to you. But now, in this quiet space where dishes clatter, where floors are swept, and emails are answered, I am learning that you are just as present. You are in the rhythm of breath, the warmth of morning light, the laughter carried down a hallway, the silence between two heartbeats. Every detail of this day, no matter how ordinary, becomes sacred when I meet it with awareness of you. I no longer want to chase miracles while missing the miracle of now. You are teaching me to slow my eyes, to steady my heart, to stop assuming that beauty must announce itself loudly. Sometimes, grace wears the clothes of routine. Sometimes, peace looks like folded laundry and answered texts. You do not demand extravagance to draw near. You come to dwell with the humble, the meek, the quiet lives lived in hidden faithfulness. Teach me to notice, Lord. Help me recognize the miracle of hands that work, of lungs that fill with air, of conversations shared without agenda. Let me not overlook the sacred gift of being alive today. And if today looks like a repeat of yesterday, then show me the new mercies laced within what I thought I already knew. The flower that bloomed unnoticed, the kindness extended reflexively, the patience chosen without reward. Let these be the altars where I worship. I often look for transformation in milestones, but you reveal it in inches, not miles. You whisper growth in ways that rarely make headlines, but still change me at my core, like dew gathering silently before sunrise, like roots expanding beneath the soil, like light spreading slowly across the floor. You are at work in me even when the surface stays still. Help me treasure that quiet work and call it holy. Let me not despise the day of small things, for in smallness, you wrapped yourself in flesh. In obscurity, you healed the bleeding woman. In simplicity, you multiplied loaves and fish. In silence, you wept beside a tomb. You entered the mundane so you could make it magnificent. You remind me that no moment is wasted when it is offered in love, lived in obedience, received in joy. So today, I ask not for escape but for vision. Help me see the divine threaded through the ordinary, Give me eyes to find wonder in water boiling on a stove, in the way a child asks questions, in the hush that lingers after a sigh. Let my work become worship, my tasks become testimonies, my routines become reminders that you are near. Even when I feel tired of sameness, help me remember that every repetition trains my soul to trust. Every morning I rise, every prayer I whisper, every act of care I offer, it all builds something unseen. You are weaving a story I cannot yet read, but every paragraph matters. Every sentence carries weight. Let my life not be measured by how much I accomplish, but by how well I loved in the ordinary, how gently I spoke, how fully I listened, how patiently I endured. Let my legacy be built on small, faithful acts done in great love. Let me believe that doing dishes with gratitude or holding the door with kindness echoes in eternity. Father, remind me again that I am not behind. I am not lost. I am not failing because life is not glamorous or fast-moving. You never required speed, only surrender. You never asked for applause, only presence. You never demanded perfection, only willingness. So here I am again, in this moment that feels unremarkable, bringing you the fragments of my day, asking you to make them beautiful. May I carry the sacred into each mundane task. May I not need a stage to feel seen, or success to feel worthy. Let my feet walk steady on this ordinary ground, because I know you have already walked it. And if you, the King of Heaven, chose to dwell in the common places of earth, then surely you are here beside me, within me, ahead of me. Today may not be loud, may not be full of firsts or finales, but if it is marked by love, patience, truth, and presence, then it will be enough. It will be more than enough. Let that be my song in this quiet, unnoticed morning. Not a cry for more, but a gentle thank you for what already is. For you, Lord, are here, and that changes everything. Lord, as I rise again to meet the sunlight of another day, my heart stirs with both gratitude and questions. The path ahead is still covered with fog, and though I have spoken to you in silence and song, there are places inside me where doubt whispers louder than truth. Yet even in this tension, I remember that you are not a God of scarcity. You are the God of abundance, not just in things, but in mercy, wisdom, strength, and peace. My soul hungers not for answers alone, but for the assurance that I walk with the one who holds all things. I think about the stories of manna in the wilderness, how each morning brought enough for the day, and how anything hoarded spoiled by nightfall. It reminds me that your provision is not meant to make me feel secure in storage, but to teach me to depend daily on your heart. Father, teach me again today what it means to live by daily bread, not only bread for the body, but sustenance for the soul. Let my trust in you not hinge upon my understanding of how you will provide, but rather in who you are as the giver. When I see the birds that neither sow nor reap nor gather into barns, yet you feed them, I see a living sermon in feathers. They do not panic, and yet they eat. I, who am worth more than many sparrows, find myself anxious about things you have already promised to handle. Unclench my hands. Lord, release my grip on control. I am wary of the illusion that I can manage outcomes through my own might. I surrender my striving. Provide not only what I need, but the wisdom to know what I truly lack. You have never been late, perhaps not early by human standards, but never late by divine timing. The wells you open do not dry until the purpose has passed. You multiplied oil in jars, stretched loaves into baskets of overflow, brought water from rocks. These are not just ancient stories, but testimonies of your nature. You delight in surprising the faithful, in meeting needs in ways they never imagined. So why should I assume this time will be different? Why do I doubt the same hand that carved mountains and numbered stars? I feel the weight of bills, of decisions, of looming deadlines and whispered needs from those I love. I bring them all to you not as a checklist, but as a child crawling onto the lap of a trusted parent. You already know my thoughts before I form them. You see the expenses I have not yet accounted for, the emotional toll of constant pressure, the nights where sleep is replaced by silent calculations. Father, meet me here, not only in the solving, but in the shaping. Let your provision shape my character as much as it meets my needs. Strip away the pride that believes I earned every good thing, and replace it with awe. Let me look at the food on my table, the roof above, the breath in my lungs, and see grace written across them all. What I have is not mine to claim as an achievement, but as a stewardship, and what I lack is not a sign of abandonment, but an invitation into deeper trust. Want to see with eyes that are not blinded by consumerism or panic. Give me spiritual clarity to discern enoughness, to find contentment without complacency. Lord, I also confess that I often mistake abundance for excess. You give richly but wisely. You do not feed greed, but goodness. You are not a vending machine for my desires, but a shepherd who leads me beside still waters. Today, let me walk with an open heart, willing to receive what you give and release what I cling to. I do not ask for more just to have more. I ask for what will make me a vessel of generosity, someone who reflects your abundance through compassion, sharing, and peace. In this new morning, I choose to believe that provision is not merely about resources. It is about presence, and your presence is always enough. Let the cry of my heart not be give me more, but let me see more of you. Show me the treasure hidden in small things, the way light filters through the curtains, the laughter of someone I love, the way a single act of kindness ripples into eternity. These are not small. They are glimpses of divine provision. You are the God who multiplies, not just fish and bread, but strength in weakness, peace in chaos, hope in despair. Multiply within me a deeper joy that is not dependent on external circumstances. Multiply within me courage to face lack without fear. Multiply within me compassion for others who wait in want. May your abundance in me overflow into the lives around me. Let my home be a wellspring of encouragement. Let my words become seeds of comfort. I praise you not because I know what will happen next, but because I know you. The same God who was with me yesterday stands before me today and goes ahead into tomorrow. My provision is not in possessions. It is in promises. It is in the assurance that nothing can separate me from your love, and that wherever I go, whatever I face, I will never walk alone, for you are already there. Arms open, hands full of grace. Let that be enough for me today. Father, as I rise once more into the light of your presence, I carry yesterday's lessons with today's longing. Your abundant provision, though invisible at times, has already met me in the quiet corners of my need. Now, with open palms and an earnest heart, I sense you whispering another invitation, an invitation to let go, to surrender not only the things beyond my grasp, but also the illusion that I ever held them to begin with. I confess how tightly I cling to outcomes, timelines, expectations, and identities that I constructed from fear. I have tried to control what was never mine, tried to force what you intended to unfold slowly. Even in my prayers, I sometimes push an agenda instead of opening my soul. But this morning, Lord, I choose a different way. I choose to release. I choose to trust. I choose to believe that in the letting go, you are not taking from me but freeing me. The weight I feel pressing against my ribs is often not from what is happening around me, but from what I want to release within me. So I pause now and breathe deeply, not just to calm my body, but to make space in my soul. I breathe out the tension, and I breathe in your peace. God, help me name what I need to lay down today. Is it my desire to be understood by everyone? Is it the fear of not being enough? Is it the resentment I carry from wounds unhealed, or the future I try to predict with anxious precision? You see the war within me even when I smile outwardly. You know how hard it is to unclench fists long held in self-protection. So I ask for courage, the kind that does not roar, but simply whispers. Try again. Release again. Trust again. I want to place each burden, each worry, each person I cannot fix into your capable hands. Not because I am giving up, but because I am giving over. Because you are the shepherd and I am the sheep. Safe not because I understand the terrain, but because I follow the one who does. Let this surrender be not a one-time act, but a rhythm, like the tides that know when to rise and when to recede. Teach me the rhythm of holding on and letting go, of working with you rather than wrestling for control. Even as I write these thoughts upon my heart, Lord, I realize how many times I have surrendered only take it all back again. So often, my letting go is followed by anxiety creeping in through the back door. But still, you remain patient, steady, never demanding that I perform, but always inviting me into rest that only surrender brings. Teach me to practice this release each day, each moment if needed, until it becomes second nature to yield instead of clench, to bow instead of brace, to rest instead of resist. I think of the birds that fly without storing up for tomorrow, the lilies that bloom without fretting over sunlight. They remind me that creation itself thrives in trust. So why do I, made in your image, struggle so to let you lead? Today, I ask for the grace to live like the sparrow, grounded in the assurance that even if I do not control the sky, I am still held within it. Even if the winds shift, You remain unchanged. Let that steadiness become the rock beneath my feet. There are pieces of my story I do not yet understand. Chapters I would have written differently. But even in the mess, you are still writing something holy. I do not want to rush the narrative or edit the plot. I simply want to be a faithful character in your unfolding grace. So, Lord, take the pen from my hands again. Remind me that the author knows the ending, even when the next page is blank. And if I stumble through a scene or feel lost in a subplot, let your presence be the paragraph that anchors me. In my relationships, God, I lay down my attempts to manipulate peace, to orchestrate understanding, to control outcomes I can never guarantee. Help me to love without clinging, to offer without expecting, to give without trying to mold others into my image. Only you can transform hearts. Let my role be to serve, to pray, to release. When words fail, let silence be enough. When bridges burn, let forgiveness remain. When I reach the limits of my ability, let it lead me into the vastness of your grace. This morning, I do not ask for clarity, but for faith, not for answers, but for presence, not for mastery over life's chaos, but for surrender in the midst of it. Teach me the art of holy detachment, not cold or indifferent, but anchored in the truth that I am not God. You are, and you are good. That is enough, Lord. As I open my eyes again this morning, I am reminded of how easily the winds of life can shift. Just yesterday, the skies felt calm, and today there is a stirring, a tremor within me that suggests a coming storm. And yet, I remember what you whispered into my soul in quiet moments. You are not absent in the storm. You are the stillness within it. You are not waiting on the other side. You are in the very center, holding all things together. So I breathe, not because I feel brave, but because I know you are near. The winds have howled before, Lord. They have shaken my plans, stripped away comforts, and revealed the fragile scaffolding I once mistook for faith. But you, Father, never scolded me for being afraid. You simply stood beside me, your presence like an anchor, your voice like a lighthouse calling me back. I now know that faith is not the absence of trembling, but the willingness to keep walking while my knees shake. And that strength true, soul-deep strength comes not from confidence in my own ability, but from surrender to yours. So today, I come not asking for the storms to cease, but for the grace to stand in the middle of them. Help me to remember that the same winds that threaten to tear me down are the ones you use to lift me higher, to strip away all that is false and fragile, and to root me deeper into what cannot be moved. Remind me that trials are not signs of abandonment, but invitations to grow soil where perseverance takes root and hope blossoms. God, you see the winds I cannot predict, the conflicts looming, the fears I try to silence, the uncertainties pressing against my thoughts. You know how easily I try to fix things in my own strength, how I wrestle to regain control. But control is not my savior, you are. And when I let go, I do not fall into chaos. I fall into grace. You catch me every time. Not once have you let me break beyond repair. You have only broken what needed mending. Father, I think of the tree that bends in the storm, not because it is weak, but because it is alive. Its roots go deep not to escape the wind, but to drink from hidden water no drought can touch. Make me like that tree. Teach me to bend, to yield, to root myself not in comfort or certainty, but in you. Even if everything above the surface trembles, let my soul drink deeply from your promises. Make me resilient not through resistance, but through dependence. And if today brings rain, let me not run for shelter. Let me lift my face and feel the droplets as reminders of your mercy washing over all things. Let me remember that you reign over the clouds as well as the clear skies, that nothing slips through your fingers, not even the storm. What I see as threat, you use as transformation. What I call delay, you design for deeper dependence. In the silence between the thunderclaps, I hear the echoes of your voice. Do not be afraid. I am with you, and I believe it. Not perfectly, but sincerely. I believe that even when the winds roar louder than truth, your whisper still holds power. I believe that even if I fall, you will not forsake me. And I believe that storms do not mean the journey has failed. They often mean I am on the right road, one that presses through discomfort into refinement. God, you are my stability when everything else is shaken. You are the firm place under my feet when the world gives way. Remind me that my foundation is not in the approval of others, not in the outcomes I can orchestrate, not in circumstances that align just right, but in you alone. That is where I stand today, not on certainty, but on faith, not on a plan, but on a person. Lord, help me to walk through this day with quiet courage, not bravado, not denial of struggle, but a settled heart that leans into you. Help me to speak peace when I feel tension, to choose love when I encounter resistance, to show mercy even when I act for justice. Let me be a vessel not of fear, but of steadiness, not of complaint, but of compassion. And when the day brings surprises that rattle my expectations, remind me to pause before I panic. Remind me that peace is not the product of predictability, but the result of presence. You go with me into every unknown. You already stand in every moment that feels too much. Let me find you not just on mountaintops, but also in the valleys, not only in answers, but in the mystery itself. The storm may swirl around me, but it will not undo me, because you are within me, and your spirit is not a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. Anchor me in that truth, Lord. Let me return to it with every trembling breath. Let it calm the storm inside, even if the one outside rages on. As I step forward into this day, I carry no illusion of ease. I carry the reality of grace. I carry the memory of all the times you brought me through. When I thought I would fall, I carry the evidence that storms are not ends, they are beginnings. And so I begin again, not as someone untouched by fear, but as someone held by perfect love. Lord, as the morning stretches its golden arms across the sky, my soul leans in toward you like a child toward their mother's warmth. After the stillness of yesterday's assurance, I now enter this day holding fast to the truth that you are my dwelling place, not merely a passing refuge or a temporary comfort, but my everlasting home, where storms cannot shake me and shadows lose their grip. The world may swirl in chaos, but within your presence, I am held by an unshakable peace. Your nearness is not a distant idea. It is the very breath that calms my restlessness, the sacred ground beneath my trembling feet. From the first light that spills into my window to the final hush of dusk, I am learning what it means to live sheltered not by stone walls or security systems, but by your promises, by your character, by the constancy of your love. I do not walk alone through uncertainty. I walk with you, my defender and my comforter. I carry no sword but trust, no shield but your name. Even in silence, you surround me. Even when the answers delay, you are already here. The world may demand explanations, but you offer presence, and in that, I find rest. I confess, Father, there are still parts of me that resist peace, places within that hold on to worry like a habit, wounds that ache with the memory of what I feared would happen or did happen. Yet even there, you enter gently. You do not barge in with condemnation, but knock with compassion. You sit in the corners of my unrest, whispering hope into places I thought too hardened to heal. You do not just visit my pain, you dwell there, transforming it into sacred ground. I have chased peace through performance, through perfection, through control, but you are teaching me a deeper way, a way where peace is not earned but received. It flows not from achievement, but from surrender. So here I am again, unclenching my fists, loosening my grip on the things I thought would save me. I give you my fears, not because I have solved them, because I trust you more than I trust myself. I give you my doubts, not to hide them, but to hold them before you like a child bringing broken pieces to a parent's slap, and you gentle, wise, unhurried begin to rebuild. There are still headlines that unsettle me, voices that compete for my attention, circumstances that tempt me to spiral. But instead of giving them my energy, I give them to you. I name them, not to feed them, but to release them. You are not afraid of my confession. You are not offended by my fragility. You are the God who weeps with the weary and sings over the anxious. Your peace is not passive. It is powerful. It does not ignore suffering. It meets it with mercy. And that is where I find myself now, in the sacred collision between my limitations and your limitless care. As I look around this morning, I see signs of your presence everywhere. In the way light filters through the trees, in the rhythm of breath filling my lungs, in the quiet that wraps around my heart like a soft blanket. These are not small things. They are evidence. Evidence that you are with me, that you are working, that you are not finished. You are still the God who brings water from rock, who parts seas, who feeds thousands from a single lunch. And if you can do all that, surely you can carry me through this day. Surely you can meet me in the mundane and the magnificent alike. Peace is not a place I visit. It is a person I live with. And you, God, are that person. You are not far off. You are within. You are around. You are above and beneath. You are before and behind. And because of that, I do not need to fear what is next. I may not know every detail of the path ahead, but I know the one who walks it with me. That is enough, more than enough. Let the stillness I feel now not be a fleeting moment, but a rhythm I return to. When the noise rises, remind me to breathe. When I am tempted to run, remind me to stay. When I feel overwhelmed, remind me of your invitation to cast my cares upon you, not as a burden to be ignored, but as an offering to be embraced. You are not looking for polished prayers. You are looking for hearts willing to be known. So here I am, Lord. Once again, not perfect, not fearless, but present. You have not promised a life without storms, but you have promised to be my shelter within them. I hold tightly to that now, not with desperation, but with the quiet confidence of one who has seen you come through again and again. And even in the waiting, I will worship. Even in the fog, I will listen. Even in the tension, I will trust. You are worth it all. As this day unfolds, help me carry peace like a lantern lighting the path, not just for myself, but for those I encounter. Let my words soothe rather than stir. Let my presence comfort rather than crowd. Let my spirit reflect the calm I have received from you, not because I am immune to hardship, but because I am held by a peace that surpasses understanding. That is the miracle I live within now, and for that I am deeply grateful. Lord, as the dawn stretches open its arms to greet a new day, I come once more with open hands and a heart still trembling with wonder. It feels both like a conclusion and a beginning, as if the road behind me is lined with gentle echoes and the road ahead is clothed in quiet promise. You have walked with me through the valleys and stood beside me on the peaks. And now, as the final light of this journey softens the horizon, I lift up the fullness of my gratitude, not only for what you have done, but for who you are. God, you are not a distant figure at the end of a prayer, but the breath between my thoughts, the warmth behind every whisper of faith. You have taught me that your provision is not simply about supply, but about presence, how you give yourself to me in every moment. When I lacked understanding, you gave clarity. When I felt alone, you gave nearness. When I had nothing left to offer, you reminded me that you never run out. What joy it is to serve a God who overflows. Even in the hidden places of my soul, where fear still tries to set up its tent, you gently unravel its grip with truth. The fear of lack, of not being enough, of running empty in a world that always demands more. You respond to all of it not with scolding but with sufficiency. You take my smallness and make it holy. You take my brokenness and call it beautiful. Your abundance is not just in resources, but in mercy, in time, in second chances, in unearned peace. Lord, I no longer chase after provision like a starving man in a barren land. I have learned to rest in you. The greatest provision of all is your unfailing love. No account of blessing is complete without mentioning the cross, the resurrection, the eternal invitation to call you Father. You gave everything so that I would never have to fear anything again. What is scarcity in the face of such sacrifice? What is doubt before the one who defeated death? Your generosity surprises me still. It does not just meet my needs, it anticipates them. Before I even name my longing, You are already preparing the answer. I see now that the waiting was not a void. It was a womb. The silence was not absence. It was preparation. You do not give out of obligation. You give from delight. You are not hesitant with your help. You rush to be near when I call. And even when I do not, God, if I have learned anything on this path, it is that trusting you is not a gamble, it is the only certainty I have. Everything else fades. Everything else disappoints, but you remain. Constant, gentle, steady. When I bring you my emptiness, you do not simply fill it, you multiply it. My faith, once fragile like a flame in the wind, now burns with quiet confidence because of who you have shown yourself to be. Let me not measure your goodness by my circumstances, but by your character. Let me not wait until everything makes sense before I lift my hands in praise. Let me not confuse discomfort with abandonment. Even if the road ahead is uncertain, I walk it with a provider who has never failed. And if the sky darkens, I will remember the one who placed the stars in it. I pray now not for more things, but for deeper trust. I do not ask for a smoother path, but for stronger legs to walk it. I do not beg for ease, but for eyes to see how you are weaving glory even in the difficulty. My prayer is not to escape the trials, but to stand firm within them, knowing I am not alone, because I never am. You are the shepherd who leaves the 99. You are the father who runs toward the prodigal. You are the well in the desert, the manna in the wilderness, the oil that does not run dry. You are everything I did not know I needed until I had nothing else. And now that I have you, I have everything. Let this truth settle in me like morning dew on a thirsty field. Even now, I can feel your peace moving in me like a river, washing over the sharp edges of yesterday. I do not carry the same burdens I once did. I do not fear what I once feared. The stillness in my spirit is not emptiness, it is trust. The quiet I feel is not abandonment, it is your presence being enough. You have taught me to see with eyes of faith, to hear your whisper even when the world is loud. And so, I step forward into this new day not as one uncertain, but as one beloved. I carry your promises like seeds in my pocket, ready to be planted in every place my feet touch. I will live like one who knows you provide, not just because you have, but because you are. And if the road ahead is filled with shadows, I will walk it still, because your light is in me now. To everyone who has journeyed to the end of this prayer, thank you. You have traveled faithfully through valleys and mountaintops of the heart. Your presence matters. Your faith matters. If these words have stirred something deep within you, I invite you to share your thoughts, your prayers, or your reflections below. Let this be not the end, but a beginning of deeper faith and wider grace. Please consider subscribing to this channel and sharing this video with those who need encouragement. May this prayer remain a gentle echo in your mornings, a reminder that God is always near, always providing, always loving. And as the soft breeze drifts through the window and the sun stretches across the horizon, may your spirit rest in the one who holds the dawn.